Good morning, Diane.
Good morning, Lois.
It's so nice to be back.
Oh my gosh, how was your summer?
It was great.
Oh,
Fast.
Mine too fast.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
I know we were going to get together and didn't, which things happen.
Yeah, busy summer for sure.
Absolutely.
But today we're here at Bayshore Broadcasting.
We are, and I am so excited. I think two media's here.
Yeah, TV meets radio.
Absolutely. We're here with Ian Selecki. And Ian Selecki is the Director of Operations for Bayshore Broadcasting.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. We're going to show you all about the radio today. We're going to take the TV on the radio, and you are going to go on the radio.
What?
Yes.
Oh.
We're going to put you on the air with Dave Carr. So shall we come on upstairs and take a look?
Sure.
I would love
All right.
to.
Love to see
Let's go.
Dave.
Yes.
Diane, Lois, welcome to the upstairs. This is where the magic happens at Bayshore Broadcasting. This is our newsroom. Fred Wallace there in the background, our sports director, and Matt Hermes, our morning news anchor and news director over here. We have 3 radio stations here at Bayshore Broadcasting in Owen Sound. Mix 106.5 is right behind you there. 560 CFOS is just over there, and Country 93 is just over there. So this is where it all happens.
That's funny. I just heard Matt do the news this morning on the country station.
Yeah, he's on all 3 of our Owen Sound stations in the morning, and also actually on our Port Elgin station as well. So he's a busy guy, and so is Fred. Both of them are in the morning.
Yes, I hear Fred do the sports quite often.
Yes.
Yeah, Fred knows just about every single sporting event and match and score that is happening in Grey and Bruce. I think that's safe to say. So
We'll have to chat with him later, Diane.
I think so.
Okay.
Maybe he can give us some inside deals or something that we know.
A good horse to buy.
Good horse to buy. Yeah, absolutely. So how
Awesome.
long has Bayshore been here?
Well, Bayshore Broadcasting initially was just CFOS, and CFOS has been around since 1940, March 1st, 1940. It was opened up to bring stories of the war back to Owen Sound, basically, and then quickly became the community radio station for this area, and carried on just as one single AM station for quite a long time. And then in the late 80s, we opened up Mix 106.5. It was called K106 then, as some people will probably remember. And just in 2001, we opened up Country 93. So that's when these first 3 radio stations all came into being. And then in the mid-2000s and into the 2010s, that's when Bayshore started expanding outside of Owen Sound. So now we have 9 radio stations across southern and central Ontario, from Bracebridge all the way down to Goderich. We have a station in Orillia, in Collingwood, in Shelburne, and in Port Elgin, actually. That was our first station outside of Owen Sound, was in Port Elgin. We've recently rebranded it to be called 97.9 The Bruce, so it is now more of a radio station for Bruce County, playing classic and modern rock. And in addition to the branding change there, we are just in the process of launching a repeater signal for the Bruce in Tobermory. So that should be on air hopefully in just a couple of weeks, and we'll start to bring a new local radio signal to Tobermory as well. So it's kind of like 9.5 radio stations almost. So we're pretty excited for that when it comes on.
That's amazing. I had no idea.
I had no idea. I thought it was just here.
It's all headquartered right here in Owen Sound. So it's a nice Owen Sound success story that we've sort of spread as far and wide as we have, and brought, in the end, I think the same kind of local radio that CFOS has always been about. That's the model that we've tried to extend to these other communities as we've opened up over the years.
Wow. On my radio, I have almost all of them in my buttons already programmed. So if it's a song, I'm going through it. And if it's a song I really like, I'll stay there for a little while.
Right.
And then I think, oh, that's over. And then I'll go to another one. And yeah, you really offer a lot of different types of genre.
Yeah, we try to offer programming that reaches people of all different age groups and different interests. I mean, between CFOS, which is more oldies and focused on the senior audience, of which there are many here in Grey and Bruce, and then Mix 106.5 is more of our hot adult contemporary, so sort of straight and narrow, popular music that people be very familiar with. And then, of course, Country 93. It's country, and country is huge in these parts and really well loved. So we kind of run the whole gamut with these formats, and through it all, I mean, the music is part of it, but obviously local content and local focus is part of it too. So telling people about what's going on in the community event-wise, what's happening, weather-wise, bus cancellations and delays. We're filming here today on the first day of school, and so there were a couple of bus delays this morning that people needed to hear about, right? So it's little things like that make local radio local, and that's what we think is really important to the future of radio and why we do what we do.
Oh, it is very important to the kids in the wintertime.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
For those bus cancellations.
That's a real honor as a radio host to be the person that kind of declares it to be a snow day. Because I remember growing up listening to it too, right? Being like, is it a snow day? Is it a snow day? And then when it is, that's a great day. Yeah.
I was one of those moms that I went to work anyway, and so I drove them.
Right.
They were so mad at me all the way to the school and all the way.
Probably listening to the radio along the way, hearing all the other buses are canceled, but we're going in anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we'll also tell you if the roads are closed, and then you can't even get to the school.
Yeah.
So that's part of the whole thing in the wintertime too.
That's absolutely true.
So speaking of events, you seem to be everywhere. When I go to the Salmon Derby, you guys were there.
That's a big part of what we do, bringing the stories of the events that are happening in the community back to people who are listening on the air. So you mentioned the Salmon Spectacular. That's a huge event for us every year. So we're broadcasting live from the Derby for all 10 days, bringing updates on the leaderboard. And, when a new fish came in, we'd get that on the air, and also telling people about all the activities that were happening there as part of the Derby. But we do that through the entire year. I mean, there are other things coming up here in the next little bit, like the Fall Fair, Concours d'Elegance is coming up in a couple of weeks, Rib Fest is coming up in a couple of weeks, so we'll be at all of those events, and we'll often have our vehicles there. You'll see the really brightly colored vehicles and our reporters on site telling people the stories of what's happening there. That was my first job in radio, was the community events reporter, so that's still a very big part of what we do. But I think we are actually getting close to the time to get you two onto the radio. So we're going to take you into the Dave Carr studio, named after Dave Carr, and you will go on the air with him in just a few minutes.
Awesome.
The good news about that is the fact that we're not going to be, they can't see us.
With our headphones?
With our headphones on.
I think you'll look great with headphones. Let's go check it out.
Great, thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to the Open Line on 560 CFOS. It's Tuesday. I'm still Dave Carr. We are going to do something this morning. We're doing two things this morning, as a matter of fact. The song has a tie-in for the first part, and then later on, and this is what I want you to do, get your thoughts ready, your stories. Where would your wedding take place if it took place where you and your spouse first met? That's what I want to know this morning. First of all, we played Elvis Presley, Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, because the Chamber of Commerce is here. Bow down, bow down. Diane Austin is the CEO of the Owen Sound and District Chamber of Commerce. Is it still called that?
Yes.
Owen Sound and District?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Because not all of your members are in Owen Sound.
No, they are not.
Lois Taylor is here for DC Taylor Jewelers, good friend of Diane Austin. Hi, Lois.
Hi, Dave.
And you're...
Thank you so much, Dave, for having us here.
It was fun. When this came up, I guess, last week, and people weren't sure how you were going to work into what we were doing on the radio, and it so happened that I had the time, and I said, let's do it at the beginning of the Open Line. It was perfect.
I'm glad, because you only have one day a week now that you're here.
That's all I do. I'm just an old retired man, and come in off the streets one day a week and do a show. And sometimes a couple of days they'll call me and say, "What are you doing on Tuesday?" Like this morning. So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, because you've been a fixture here for so long. How many years have you worked here?
Well, formally, I worked here for 30 years. In fact, I guess next week probably is the 50th anniversary of my acceptance letter saying we'd like you to come work at CFOS. So it's 50 years. I worked here from 72 to 92, retired formally, had about maybe a decade off doing other things, and then they asked me to come back and do 1 or 2 or 3 days a week while Bill Murdoch, who was hosting the Open Line at that time, had gone to Florida for the winter. And so I filled in for him for about 4 months, and I've never left. So.
You know what's really amazing, because you're such an amazing guy, is this actual room here is named after you. This is the Dave Carr room.
This is the Dave Carr studio. Yeah,
Studio?
It's I'm not comfortable with that, but it's such an honor. And they did that the day I retired on November 30th, 2002. We did a 3-hour open line on my retirement, and at the end they came in and said, "And we're naming the studio after you." And yeah, I still get verklempt when I try not to think about it, but they keep saying it. Hey, Fred's in the Dave Carr studio. Yeah, so
That's an honor. But you deserve it.
It is very much an honor, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I guess if they hadn't asked me to come back, I would have been busy doing other things. I'm a matchbook collector, and I go to conventions. And for about 15 years, I was a Memphis and Kansas City certified barbecue judge, and I would go and judge barbecue in the United States. So I was busy, but I really love doing this. So this is fun, being able to share things with the community, bring things out of the community, talk about things. One of the mantras for me doing an open line show is that every day at the end of the show, you should know something that you didn't know when the show started. In this morning's case, a bit about the Chamber, a bit about D.C. Taylor Jewelers, something about where people met, the community interaction of people. You get all of that on a show like this. So it's such a great deal of fun.
I bet you've had some funny stories over the years.
And people ask me that, and then I can't think of any. But one of my favorites, and it's not all that funny. Preston Manning was here when he was leader of the Reform Party, and they had just had their nomination meeting for a candidate, and Preston Manning was sitting where you are, Lois, and the new candidate was sitting over here, and somebody poked their head in the door and said, whispered to Preston Manning, and he got up and left in the middle of a live broadcast. It was the Prime Minister on the phone for Preston Manning. He said, "When the Prime Minister calls, you got to take it." He was gone for about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm left here with the Reform Party candidate, whom I hadn't expected to see. I was doing a show with Preston Manning, so I had all the big issue questions. The candidate was not prepared. We had a very awkward 10 or 15 minutes before Mr. Manning came back, and
How'd you know? And you could have put the Prime Minister on the phone, right? He could have.
They were out doing something else, and prime ministers are notoriously shy about doing too many of these radio shows. So I try. I like to call and reach out for these people. The other thing, I end the show every day, since 1984. I have ended the show saying, the day may not be perfect, but please do what you can to make this day the best you can. That was when the Pope was visiting Midland and St. Marie among the Hurons. And I said, the show was, the Pope is coming. If you could ask the Pope one question, what would you want to ask him? What would you want to ask? The leader of arguably, the largest or nearly the largest spiritual collective in the world.
Yeah.
What would you like to ask this guy? Little old lady called up and said, the Pope is Satanist. He's going to fry in hell. She swore. She was just vicious. She was just me, and that's what prompted me to say that line, because I was just flabbergasted. It's not. Life isn't perfect. Yeah. And then I've honed the line. So that's kind of. Some people have a signature closing and some don't. I have a signature closing, and the reason I have a signature closing is because I mean it. The day may not be perfect, but do what you can to make the day the best you can. Everybody should do that. I don't know if that's a version of the golden rule or what it is, but
I love that.
But
I
that
love
came.
it. Yeah.
But that came from a lady who called out the Pope.
Aww. Ellen's got hers, and Cara Burnett had hers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Best version of today,
Well,
right?
Yes.
This was the best version of today. Yeah, I am so happy to see both of you, and thank you for doing what you're doing on Rogers TV. This is such an important program. It really is.
Thank you. We have fun with it.
Yeah.
We enjoy doing it.
That's number one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's what makes it work.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Conditioning is brought to you in part by Raven Reads. Unbox Indigenous voices. Subscribe today at ravenreads.org.
Treaty in Cree is Naskomitoin, an oral agreement, and our agreements were always spoken. For George Spence, the core of treaty was Wichihioin, to help one another.
And so we, the commissioners,
He was there for the making of Treaty 9, where the Cree were told,
we will honor this agreement together for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow.
the Cree made their mark because they were assured that the land would be shared and they would always be able to harvest what they needed. George Spence was my great-grandfather. In his life, he saw many promises of the treaty go unfulfilled.
Treaties were essential to the creation of Canada. First Nations still fight for the agreements to be honored.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
So here we are with Fred Wallace.
I hate to disturb him.
I hate to disturb him as well, but hi, Fred.
We have a saying here where I go working, so you're not to interrupt me, but today we'll make a special exception. Hi, guys.
Thank you. We hear your voice all the time.
That's great. Well, thank you for listening to, as you're hearing, the many services of Bayshore Broadcasting. And I think out of the 9 stations, I'm on 4 of them. So it's great that you're hearing us.
And what do you do?
Primarily sports is what I do. And so I look after big-time sports and also local sports, which is the more important of the two. And then the other aspects that I have, of the many things that I do, the biggest thing is being a partner with the great Paul Hill on the CFOS Morning Show.
The great Paul Hill.
The great Paul Hill, yes. Paul's not here to defend himself, but he is the great Paul Hill. He's 6'4" and a great big Saint Bernard.
Oh, is he?
Yes, he is.
They're
Great guy
funny to
work with.
listen to,
Yes,
to get
yeah,
the banter.
yeah. But you not only work in studio, you have a lot of other places you go as part of, the Bayshore Broadcasting. One of them would be the attack game.
Yeah, and so some of that is work. If it was play-by-play, as Matt Hermes is going to do this coming year, then that's part of Bayshore Broadcasting, but you're also working for the attack. And there was one weekend a few years ago where I worked here, worked for Hanover Raceway, worked for the attack, and then worked for Bear Radio. So, and I think I did a Leon's remote in there. So you get your hands into a lot of pies.
Absolutely. I like that you actually go out to different businesses and out into the community to make people aware of who you are and what you do.
Some of that, Diane, is sponsored, and I'll use Leon's as a great corporate partner of ours, and that's promotion that they're buying and they're paying for, and we want to deliver. And then there's also, as you're well aware, there's 10,000 events that go on in the community, and I think it really behooves a community station to be involved. And so sometimes those are through the station, but a lot of times they're on your own initiative.
Wow. We've advertised, you and I have advertised with the radio station as well.
Yeah.
And love the voices.
And another example, Lois and I are on the committee for Hockey Fights Cancer. And again, that's like
you haven't been to a meeting.
Well, I sit here and Janet Juniper brings me all the information. Okay. So yes, I haven't been to a meeting, but I'm participating there. And I think the big event that we're looking forward to is Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada, which is January 18th to the 21st.
It's coming back.
Yeah,
that's good.
So there's lots of things going on in your city.
Yeah. Which I love this community.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I didn't grow up here, but this is home.
No.
And what I like is the involvement with you and your business and you with the radio station. That's what it's all about.
Well, I think in markets like this, that's the way to go. And if you're going to be a radio station, and I'll use this example that when I grew up, all around Georgian Bay, seemingly every community had a radio station, and now, or an AM station, and now the only AM station existing is CFOS. And I think to a certain extent, it's because CFOS has been so involved in the community that it's had an almost 85-year history.
Mm-hmm. So how long have you been, were you born and raised here?
No, I'm from Midland, Ontario. So I went to Ryerson for school. Our radio and television arts started in Midland in 1982 and came here just before Christmas in 1984. So this year at Christmas, it'll be 38 great years.
Wow. Wow.
And this is like you started here 38 years ago.
Yes, and I started as a disc jockey when I was here, and I think I took over in sports in 1988.
And they had records then?
Yes. When I was a disc jockey, you had to put the record on the turntable, and the commercials, you had to put them into the slot on a little, almost like an 8-track cartridge was what you used. Whereas now everything's so automated that you hit F8 on your computer, and there goes your radio station.
Right. Oh my goodness. Well, there'd be no mistakes now, but I'm sure there were then.
Wrong speed, the wrong commercial. You know, here's Bruce Springsteen and Dolly Parton would come on. Yeah, a few mistakes.
What?
Too funny.
Isn't that what it's all about?
Yeah, that you're right. That is the fun.
Yeah.
It is the fun.
Well,
So
thank you.
Well, thanks for coming to Bayshore Broadcasting today.
Now you can put a face to the name, Mr. Fred Wallace. So here we are with the very famous Paul Hill. So now we can put a face to the voice, and you do the morning show.
Everyone's always so disappointed when they meet somebody on the radio, because you always have a picture of
In your
what
mind?
that person
Yeah.
looks like from their voice.
Okay.
And a lot of people think I'm a little blonde-haired guy for some reason.
That Fabio look, right?
Yes, yeah. That's it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got a great voice.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. really good.
Absolutely.
And they're funny in the morning, he and Fred.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to tease him and say that I wake up with him every morning.
But you'd be lying.
I'd be lying. Absolutely.
A lot of women tell me that. Yeah.
You're not the first, Diane.
Darn.
But this is where the magic happens.
This is.
In the morning.
It's the CFOS control room, or the out-of-control room, as we like to call it. That's the audio board. I control I control Fred's microphone. Oh. So he has to be good to me. But I control all the programming that comes through. Nowadays, everything's on computer, of course. Like this, this here is a list. That's a song that's playing right now.
Okay.
And this is sound effects that I could hit with my mouse if I wanted to, play a intro or some bit of music. That is what we call the log, the commercial log. So it's got the music, Max Webster, Diamonds playing right now. And then eventually we're going to get to commercials. And that's the list of commercials.
Okay, that's interesting. And it just automatically
it rolls
cues
through.
Into it.
And I can stop it and then start it again, or I can put it on where it is now. Oh. It's on Otto, the German guy. Otto means automatic. That means he's going to keep running.
Well, tell Otto when it comes to the DC Taylor ad, he can play it.
We'll play it twice?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you pick your own songs? Do you pick the songs for the day? Or?
No, it's all done through the computer and through the music director. Although with the morning show, I can play around with it because we have to have time out to the bottom and top of the hour with news and sports and all that good stuff.
Okay.
So I have to know math, stuff like that.
Oh, how boring can that be?
I thought I was getting away from that, going into radio.
It's amazing what kindergarten and grade 1, grade 2, primary grades do for you.
So kids stay in school.
Yes.
Because you need math.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally get that. So how long have you been here?
Here in Owen Sound, 17 years. I was here back in the late 80s for 3 years. So actually it's been 20 years total. But then I went away. And then I came to my senses and came back.
See, that happens a lot, Lois.
Yeah.
A lot of kids are here. I'm going to leave Owen Sound, and next thing you know, I think I'm going to move home.
It wasn't so bad back there, was it?
No.
Because the area is so beautiful.
Yes.
And the people are so nice. And, the radio.
That's it. People are nice.
And you get to work with Fred.
I get to work with Fred, yeah. Well, I said when I was at the Owen Sound Salmon Spectacular, I said, I do the morning show with Fred. Somebody has to. Everybody thought that was funny.
So what time do you start in the morning? Like Fred at 4?
Fred's here before I am because he's a keener.
Oh, yeah.
He's here probably at 4.
Wow.
I get up at 4. I'm here at 5.
Still.
And go on the air at 6. And then the show runs from 6 till 9. And then it's the talk show. After 9 o'clock, I go and record 2 other shows, one for Country 93, and one for our Godrich station, Country 104.9. And I do that, and then I come back, and right now I'm editing an interview that I did, a community calendar interview about an event that's coming up in Tara. They're raising money for a splash pad. So I did an interview with Allison Meisner, and she's talking about, raising funds. They're having a psychic come to town, and it's a wine and dine kind of thing.
Yes.
So that's going to run on our station and also other stations.
So we need to do that for our event coming up.
I think that's a great idea. Yes.
Yes. So we're hosting a harvest dinner for, for the local Shrine Club on October 21st. So we'll make a date and we'll do a little interview with you.
Yes.
Talk to my people.
Yes. Yes, I'll have my people call your people.
Yeah. Lois is my people.
I wish I had people.
Yeah. So anyway,
well, thank you for inviting us into your
little domain.
Yeah.
It's wonderful here.
No, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
In the morning show, it's a different thing. In the morning show, it's people are getting up and at 'em, and we like to entertain and inform them of what's going on. News. Most people tune in for news and weather, and maybe traffic info.
Yeah.
And the music usually is down on the list.
Yeah.
But we try and play good music and have some fun, and get people's day started on a positive note.
Do you still do the funeral announcements?
Yes, we do. It's the most listened to 15 minutes of the day. It is true.
I do, just to see if I have to come into work or not.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, you're still alive.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having us.
Well, thanks for dropping in.
This was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. So Paul Hill.
Oh, Ian, this was a blast today. I had a lot of fun. Hey, Diane?
Oh, I don't want it to end. I really don't. This is probably, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody's been so kind and generous in talking to us.
Well, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciated having you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if someone wanted to contact the Bayshore Broadcasting, how would they do that?
Yeah, well, you could either go to our website, bayshorebroadcasting.ca. That's our news center website, so that's where all of our local news, sports information is posted all the time. But there's also information there about how to reach us if you want to contact us about advertising your business or about advertising an event or something like that you have coming up. You can do that there. You can also call us, of course, anytime at 519-376-2030.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much for coming and for listening.
Our pleasure.
Yes.
So can I get a job anywhere here? Or?
Oh yeah, we're always hiring. Yeah, we'll find a spot for you. Fred will train you, and you'll be good to go. You'll be on air tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, Fred, you're on. Yeah.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Sports fans know Sundays are for football. That's why you need NFL Sunday tickets. With NFL Sunday Ticket, you'll get every live game, every Sunday afternoon, all season long. Follow your favorite teams and players live in HD. Order NFL Sunday Ticket and get up to 200 regular season games. Call your local service provider today.
Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m., it's the RTV Quiz. Giovanni Petiti hosts a weekly trivia competition that lets you play from the comfort of your couch. Play along at home